That was Power Quest with Kings of Eternity off of Master of Illusion. Before that, Frame Shift. Whoops, bumped the microphone. Frame Shift bleh, with Spiders off of Unweaving the Rainbow and Pain of Salvation with In the Flesh off of The Perfect Element Part 1. If you heard some familiar vocals on that frame shift song, your eyes and your ears didn't deceive you. That was James Labrie from Dream Theater he does the vocals on that disc. That was kind of I think they have 2 CDs out, but it was sort of like a project where somebody wrote all the music, and that particular one was based on Richard Dawkins, and his works about evolution. But James Labrie, they got him to sing the vocals on that. So there you go. It's almost 9 o'clock here on WVLP. We're at 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana. This is Mostly Metal, and we have 30 minutes of tunes left to go. And the last 30 minutes of the show is going to follow a particular theme. And the reason is that my special guest in the studio this evening, ready to talk wrestling at 9:30 on the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, is Mr. TK0.
Oh,
That's your
introduce
turn.
myself now.
There you go.
Don't worry if you get tongue-tied at 9:30. I will talk the whole 30 minutes,
Excellent.
so you don't need any words other than introducing, and I'll take it away from there. I can go for 30. Easy.
That's good. I'm not used to having somebody of your stature in
Most people aren't.
In
Most
the
people
studio
never
right now.
usually get this type of treatment from anybody. So you're lucky, and you're welcome.
I am.
Listeners are welcome as well.
Okay. Any cards that we get sent expressing that appreciation?
The money that comes into, I'll make sure I'll take the money. I don't really care about what they say.
Sure.
Any good lucks or hey, thank you type of things I don't care about, but I will take their money.
Okay, I'll send you an envelope then.
I appreciate that.
So, because of the arrival of his greatness, I decided to dedicate this half an hour of music to TK0, and so I've got 5 songs lined up, and all of them have the word zero in the title. So I hope you enjoy them.
I'm certain I will.
This first one is really obnoxious. It's by a band called Scar Symmetry. It's off their CD Holographic Universe, and the song is called Time Wave Zero. But we'll mix things up. So this one's going to be the most aggressive of the bunch, and then we'll have something a little more proggy. We'll even listen to some Jefferson Starship and Black Sabbath before the end of the half hour. So, but everything will have zero in the title. This song is called Time Wave Zero. All right, paused it at just the right time. That was Arc off of Burn the Sun with a song called Absolute Zero. Before that was Enchant off of Wounded with Below Zero, and Scar Symmetry off of Holographic Universe with Time Wave Zero. And the reason it's all about zeros is because in the studio with me is Mr. TK0.
Mr. TK0. I'm actually going to rename my finisher to the Time Wave Zero. I really like that.
Okay, good. That's. I'm glad you're appreciating this because I sweated a lot to try to pick the most appropriate and likable song. So I'm glad
I would
you're hearing
assume
things.
this has been keeping you up many a nights.
I didn't take it lightly. No,
I
sir.
would expect nothing less.
And so now that was three metal songs with zero in the title. Before we start talking about wrestling at 9:30, I'm going to squeeze in 2 more. These are good. One of them is going to be metal, and one of them is just going to be plain old rock and roll, just to change things up. So we'll listen to Jefferson Starship with the title track off of Freedom at Point Zero, and then Black Sabbath with Zero the Hero, which I'm hoping that you will also appreciate a lot.
I love it already.
Are you many people's hero? Anti-hero? Which one is it?
I'm everything to everybody, whatever they need. Yeah, I'm it. I'm the alpha, the omega. I try as much as one can to constantly carry everybody on my back. I mean, when you look out there, you realize how awful everybody is and lame they are. So
Your versatility is impressive.
thank you.
You're welcome. Jefferson Starship. That is not Jefferson Starship. You know what I did is instead of pressing play on the file that I'd paused, I pressed play on the file name, which made it start from scratch. So let me see if I can get us back to right. I was explaining the problems with having all of my songs in a single sound file. So let me see if I can get us back. Actually, I'm going to do this differently here.
I can stall for time for
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
This is what happens every show. They go, hey,
flying without a net.
we screwed up everything. TK, get out there, just grab a mic, start talking, bring the fans back. They're leaving because, once again, a match that didn't have me in it bored them, as it's wants to happen from time to time, so I have to save the show. That's why they actually call me the show saver. TK0. It's probably one of the many nicknames people have given me.
I've seen your shirts, and I know that they have to start at like 5XL just to make room for all the nicknames and accolades that you have.
It's just a lot of print. That's why they're about 100 each. It's a lot of ink.
And gold foil.
Yeah, you get it. I'm happy you get it.
All right, we're ready to rock.
There we go.
Freedom at 0.0, I promise. It just takes a while to fade in. These old 80s songs, they fade out really, really slowly.
Growing up as a kid, I actually only thought songs ended with fade outs, and I was always wondering in concerts, I'm like, how do they end their song? Because it always just fades out on the radio. I'm like, how do you end Hotel California? How does that just, how do you end that? Like it just goes on and on. I assume they've had one concert and they all died on stage playing that song until their death.
That was the Grateful Dead. I believe they did that. Anyway, that song was Zero the Hero by Black Sabbath off of Born Again. I hope it was evil sounding enough for you. And
I don't know why it has to be evil for me. I feel like we're all making assumptions about me.
Well, you are in a heavy metal, the end of a 90-minute heavy metal show.
That's that's fair. I guess
it should have zero in the name, so there should be something in the overlap there between the two areas. That was Black Sabbath, and before that, Jefferson Starship with Freedom at 0.0. The voice you hear is Mr. TK0, and he is here to talk about wrestling for the next half an hour or so. And Mostly Metal comes to a close. You were listening to WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso, Indiana, and now it's time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
All right, it is just a hair past 9:30. The Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program is underway. I'm Ken the Metal Professor, and sitting here with me is TK0.
Thank you for having me.
I am very excited to have you here. Thanks for coming in. Would you like to be greeted with the WVLP applause or boos?
I would hope all of them at the same time, constantly, on loop, actually, if we can somehow make that happen. I would like it so that the fans constantly have to hear how I have to hear them. That's how every time I walk in the ring, these are the noises I have to deal with. Okay? Yep. Yeah.
There you go. So it was not possible to do them both. And so I figured I had my answer at that point.
Oh, that's fair enough.
There we go. So thanks for coming in. We have quite a few things to talk about, mostly starting with you and your history. And you are very active in this area. I've seen you with ACW, Acme Championship Wrestling, and you're also active in NGW, and you've brought to the studio a spectacular tag team title belt.
I did. There is another one that looks very similar to this, but Drex Odell has it. I probably should have told him to let me take it and bring both, but I'm not so evil to my tag partner that I'd rip a prized possession away from him even for an hour or so, so it's still with him. guarded under lock and key, clearly. But yes, this is the NGW Tag Team Championship. We actually just won this not all that long ago in a match that probably went a minute, maybe.
So you worked hard.
It was very effective. We just hit our finisher, which I believe we are calling Muscle Symphony. We attempted to make that our tag team name, but others disagreed with how cool that was. So I believe we're now calling that our finisher. Drex was very insistent on that, and I love it, so why not? So yeah, I mean, all I have to do is basically just use a knee and hit him with a knee, and then Drex kills him with a clothesline. His arms are as thick as a normal man's torso, so when they hit very violently, and it's always been doing the job when we need it. So when we hit first Jason Levi and then Luis Rojas with it, it made it very easy to then pin them, and then we took the belts because they are now ours. And then I walk around with my belt, and I go to restaurants, and I say table for two, and I put my belt in the other seat, and we have a very nice dinner.
Exactly. Do you have to, if you take it on an airline, do you have to pay for an extra ticket?
No, when I go on an airline with it, they actually kick everybody out. You've seen the video where the man was dragged off.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's basically that, only en masse, but nobody can complain because a champion is getting on board, and so there's no legal repercussions that can go with it.
And the people understand. I mean,
I don't care if they do or don't. I mean, I just take. That's what has got to happen.
So NGW stands for, is that Next Generation Wrestling?
New Generation
Wrestling.
NGW down. So they usually run in Crawfordsville, the area down there. They actually have a show next Saturday down in Crawfordsville. So if this is happening, anybody wants to make a long trip with us, I know it's a little bit of a hike, but Drex and I will be down there. I don't know who we're wrestling. I honestly, I don't care, and I don't think Drex does. Because it doesn't matter. We win, and we get to hold on our belts more, and then we'll probably get a little too intoxicated later, and that's always pretty cool too. And then we flash our belts at people. We go, hey, check this out, and we push it. We put it in their face, so you just kind of put it in the face, right? So you just kind of push them away to make sure they know how important you are.
So if we brought brought out the WVLP passenger van, which we don't actually have, but let's pretend we do, and brought a bunch of people down there, could you guarantee that we'd at least get to see 2 minutes of TK0 and Drex O'Dell?
We'll go 10 minutes. We'll probably win in a minute, but we'll throw them around for 9. People love it. See, people down there, they get what Drex O'Dell and TK0 about. Up here, they, for whatever reason, they want to yell at both of us. Drex O'Dell's the ACW champ, okay? And he's come over every odd that's ever been stacked against him. Michael Allen is the worst GM ever. He keeps trying to go out of his way to put the belts on whoever he likes, right? He goes out of his way. I should have beat Dynamo. I threw him out of the building. I said to count him out. Apparently, they changed the match rules, and there's no count-outs in the Tough Man Championship. That makes sense. Give me the belt. I should have the Tough Man belt. Right? Drex, he goes over every odd, gets the belt there. You know, he keeps giving him matches this way and that way. He's climb up a ladder. You know, against Austin basically tried jumping up ladders. He didn't even try to wrestle. You know, Austin, what if I just ran up a ladder? That's not how you decide a championship. No, you decide a championship for wrestling in a wrestling match, not who can climb up a ladder. You know, so then we had to watch Drex O'Dell get what he beat him with wrestling. And they made him watch him climb up ladder.
That's true. But to Michael Allen's benefit, or to his credit...
Don't give him credit.
The side effect, though, is that people got more of Drex O'Dell that way. And isn't that what the people want?
The people don't know what they want, okay? First off, people are bad at making choices. The people want to see Drex O'Dell in nice, clean wrestling matches, which is the British way. And he deserves better. Okay.
Well, Michael Allen's been on the show. Drex O'Dell has been on the show. You've been on the show. Maybe someday we can have like an ACW roundtable, and you guys can just hash. I'll have to hire extra security for the station, but maybe we can get everybody in here to hash all this out.
I think we've already hashed it out. I'm right. Drax is most likely right with his complaints he'd have against Michael Allen. I'll probably throw another waddle bottle at Michael Allen the next show, so
Okay.
it'll work out.
I'm going to try to get an up-close seat for that, so that'll be fun.
You'll probably get soaked. You'll probably get water all over you.
It's all right. So tell me about the name TK0. Where did that come from?
TK0, so way back when I was training, a few years ago, the 2015 is when I trained, and I trained at School of Rock under Billy Rock, who his most probably successful student as of right now is Ruby Riott on NXT. She trained under Billy Rock, but there's plenty of indie wrestlers going around the scene that have that Billy Rock's helped train one way or another that I expect you'll see in one top promotion or another. So anyways, I want to say summertime, he said, hey, start coming up with some gimmick names, and we're going to go through, and we're going to figure out like what you're going to go with. And so one of my names was TK0, and it's a playoff. Obviously, it's a playoff of TKO, technical knockout.
Okay.
For those which might be challenged being able to put one-to-one together.
Guilty. That never occurred to me.
I don't know why I'm surprised someone in Indiana didn't get this. So anyways, I had a list of names, and I was going over something. So basically with the TK0 name, I wanted something that was 2 letters and a word. I'm like, it's kind of got to me kind of a Japanese feel to it, where they just kind of will sometimes string 2 English words together. They'll just mash things up, and they'll be like, that's awesome. Like, I don't know why I love that, but I love how they did that. So I was like, I want to do something like that. And so the TKO, hey, can I play off a TKO? And came up with TK0, and that was the one he said didn't suck out of all the gimmick names I had. He said, hey, that other one sucked. You should take that one. And so I took that one because I didn't want him to be mad at me.
Nice. Now, the wrestler formerly known as Christopher Kent is now going around calling out himself CK1. Now, is he trying to outdo you?
You'd have to bring him in here and ask that. I know you had him on a while ago. It's letters and numbers. I don't take any type of offense or challenge to it. I'm expecting you're going to see some type of like BT3 maybe, or
Sure.
BT2. Something. I'm expecting to see more of it as they've seen how successful the naming convention is.
Right.
So I expect to see many follow, but with CK1 or Christopher Kent, however you want to go about it, I think he's technically both. He kind of had that with his gimmick for a while. He kind of already, the CK obviously clan stands for as Christopher Kent, so it's not like he just randomly grabbed 2 letters and a number, and I could go, hey, like, I think he's inspired by me. I think it's just, he was already kind of had that and just mashed it together, and it works for him.
Well, hopefully you can be proud of people that do that, since you started the trend, and you can see where it goes.
Hey, if anybody wants to follow suit and give me credit for things, I'll just sue them for money.
Okay. Now, are you active in any other promotions regularly besides ACW and NGW?
No, those are my most active ones. I've hit a few here and there around Fire Pro being the more recent of ones I've hit that wasn't NGW or ACW. But I've been around here and there. It's a little difficult for me because I'm not as young as some of the kids on the scene are. So I've already, I have, hey, this type of loan or that type of loan. So it's like, I don't have the easiestness to just pick up and drive super far anywhere. And I also, funny enough, I have a dog that I do love. And so it's hard to just look at her and be like, hey, I'm going to go away for a weekend and try to figure out what I'm going to do with her and, everything like that. So it's one of those things where I was like, well, I like ACW and this, the wrestlers there. I like NGW, I like the wrestlers there. I'm comfortable with them. So, hey, I can make it where it's half my afternoon, and I'm not going to, have to make all these plans during the week that if they fall apart, then suddenly I can't get out somewhere. So I'm not as active as many of the others I trained with that put a lot of time on the road, but it is what it is, I suppose.
Sure, but your reputation will be making its way out anyway. Even if you were physically not there, clearly everybody will know the name.
Hey,
TK0.
if everybody's coming to me, then I don't need to drive out to them.
Right. So obviously you enjoy beating people up.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
What made you decide that, or when did you first learn that beating people up was a cool thing to do?
So what got me into wrestling and beating people up was actually the SummerSlam that Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his neck against Owen Hart. When Owen Hart, I believe that was SummerSlam. I want to say the main event was Taker and Michaels, or
Okay.
Taker and Hart with Michaels to the ref. It was those three. But the match was when Owen Hart hit the pile driver on Austin and broke his neck. I remember I was watching that because a friend of mine was into wrestling and I wasn't. He's like, hey, come over to this pay-per-view. And I didn't really understand what was going on. So I came over and I remember Stone Cold came out and I went, well, that guy seems awesome. And then he broke his neck and still won the match. And I'm like, well, that's pretty awesome. So I started watching wrestling against my mother's wishes. And I got into it. The Attitude Era, as everybody knows pretty well in wrestling, got everybody pretty lit up about wrestling for a while there. And I was one of the fans that came in right at that exact time. And I was Stone Cold was going everywhere, flipping everybody off, drinking beer, and giving everybody stunners, giving his boss a stunner. I'm like, yeah, that's the type of man I want to be, where I can just start hitting people and they will give me money and belts. And so it was always something that was in the back of my mind I'd like to do. I didn't get into it as early as I'd liked. I had a mixed match of things. I was going to school, so you don't have a lot of time nor money when you're in school. But I had also hurt my back pretty bad when I was in high school training for football. So I always had this thing with my back. I was kind of always afraid it was going to go out on me, and I'd be hurt more than I wanted to. So it was one of those things where I was like, I just had to take a long time to let it kind of come back into something easy enough. And then a few years ago, I was getting to this point where I'm like, it's a now or another type of situation. If I'm going to ever have a wrestling match and go, hey, at least I touched wrestling. Hey, at the very end of the day, you have to say, hey, this kid did exist. Even if I didn't do anything of note, I did exist in that world. So I looked around online, found Billy Rock, reached out to him, and then that was middle of 14, so he's already in the middle of one of his classes. So he said, hey, January 2015, what's next class? And I said, I will see you there. And, well, I said, I'd see you there. He did a little thing where he'd make sure your A were up to the challenge of it. So you'd go down there and actually kind of do a little mini training thing, just a lot of cardio stuff, just to make sure you're going to be able to last in this, because guess what? There's a lot of cardio. There's a lot of things you're going to be bumping around, running around on. So don't waste his time or your time if you're not going to come into this real. And so, so then 15 I trained, and now I'm here with the belt, hanging out with Drex Odell. It's pretty cool.
It's good life. Not only do you enjoy beating people up, but you also enjoy yelling at people, particularly small children.
They come at me.
And their parents.
Yeah, they don't come at me if you don't want me to come at you, Don't come out. I mean, I come out, right? And and they start trying to say the stupidest stuff. Okay, kids are very dumb, and that's just a known fact. I don't care if you think, hey, I have a smart kid. Doesn't matter. Kid's dumb. Okay, I don't care if he's smart for a 12-year-old. He's a 12-year-old. He doesn't understand politics. Okay, he doesn't understand anything above the height. Like, oh, he's as smart as a 14-year-old. Oh, great. 14-year-olds are dumb too. Okay, dumb teenagers, right? So they're all dumb. So they just say dumb things, and I have to deal with it. So I tell them they're dumb. I tell them in much more exquisite words, with words they barely can probably comprehend. They got to use context clues. Thankfully, I use other words to make them feel bad about themselves.
It's a gift. It's another gift
Thank
you
you.
have.
Thank you.
Have you ever gotten somebody so riled up that, like, security had to step in?
So I have had kids spit at me. That was pretty awesome. I've had kids swing at me. One kid actually did get a shot on me because I wasn't paying attention. And I was walking by the barricade, and he did actually clip me. Thankfully, kids are very weak and very dumb. And so when he actually got a little hit on me, he broke his fingers because he's weak and I am strong. And so there was no repercussions for that, because he learned his lesson right then and there. You don't punch a statue if you're a smart kid. And he was dumb.
Weak and dumb is a bad combination.
Yeah. If you're going to be dumb, at least be strong,
It's good advice.
Thank you.
In the process of beating people up, you will use more than just your fists. What is your favorite thing to do to one of your opponents in terms of a wrestling move?
Okay, so I don't know if there's necessarily just a move I like, but I love to target their backs. Roderick Strong is great at making everything some type of backbreaker. My finisher, if you will, is basically, if you would imagine a rock bottom into the knee. You've seen me kill Kyle Kaler many a times. Arun basically bent in half when he took one. And I like attacking the back, because I know how much you need it as a person that's injured it. I know how uncomfortable when you start taking away the back, everything else starts kind of going, your shoulder starts kind of tighten up. Your neck's a little stiff now, right? Hey, that neck, you kind of can't bend it as well. Hey, you can't throw your fists that well anymore now, can you? Oh, you're spending a lot of time arching because your back sucks. So I like to get as much as I can into some type of backbreaker variation. There's the sidewalk slam, if you will. Kane's very popular at being able to hit that. I like to hit that onto a knee as much as I can. For whatever reason, people love to see, and I love to hit it when I can get a knee to the face in the corner, a knee face wash, if you will, is devastating. I'm probably giving everybody a concussion with it. Because, hey, don't get in the ring with me. And if you go down, hey, I'm going to try to hit that head. You should have just tapped out. I'd feel bad, but they came at me first. I always offer the opponent just to forfeit the match before we even go out there. And they never taken me up on it because, maybe we'll get famous this one time. And then they lose and they hurt. So that's not smart for them.
Now, I don't know why. This has just occurred to me this moment, really. The combination of having kids come at you and being in the ring and knowing what you can do to people, and the fact that you were paid money to beat people up and you're given belts. You earn belts. You're not given belts.
I've taken. Other people had them, and when they came out, and then we took them after beating them.
And now they're yours. So have you ever thought about doing something like the $1 Million Man, where you come out with some money and challenge the children in the audience, say, hey, if one of you can come up and land one, just, here's some money for you?
No, because there'd probably be some weird legal thing that would happen, because kids are apparently special these days, where they're like, oh, we got to protect the children.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we just kicked children around, apparently, but I don't. Cliff has got the money. He can come out with all the money and rub it in their face. I take his money. That's how our arrangement works in ACW. As long as he keeps the cash flowing, he doesn't have to worry about anything from me. But dear God, if he ever goes bankrupt, I don't know if he can afford my services, which is probably going to suck for him. But no, I can't say I want to take the money gimmick on them, because what if one of them tries to steal it from me? They're little. They can get in small places I can't get into, because one of us has broad shoulders because we go to the Y and work out constantly. They don't, so they can get in weird places I can't. I'd have to rip it apart, and then I'm going to have the school system on me.
Yeah, it was you don't need those little hooligans running around you. That was a bad idea. On the flip side of moves and having things done to you, it would be a rare, if non-existent occasion for an opponent to get the upper hand on you. But of all the moves that somebody could do to you, what would be your least favorite one to take?
Anything that gets me really, really high. If someone's really, really strong, that is not going to be my favorite type of day, because usually it's not a battle I have to worry about where someone can pick. If I'm going against, if I have Drex, let's say Drex comes at me, he is a strong man. As much strength as I have with him, he can pick me up as easily as I can pick him up. And it's not something I'm used to. I'm not used to being thrown around. So when someone like him is able to lift me very high, and I know I'm coming very far down to hit a ground, I do not enjoy anything like that.
What do you do to relax when you're not punching people in the face?
I always enjoy some video games, watching movies. I just saw Baby Driver the other day.
Okay.
If you haven't, that's a fun movie.
That's in my Netflix queue.
Check it out. You're gonna enjoy it. It's a really good soundtrack too. I'm pretty basic with that type of stuff. I mean, I like hanging out with friends. Drex and I, just the other week we were at the Valpo Brew Fest drinking, hanging out. So I enjoy a good beer. I'm not as young as I once used to be, so I can't go as hard as I once used to be. But sometimes I make the mistake and think I can, and then I'm proven wrong in the morning.
I feel your pain.
But but no, I'm pretty. I would like to watch wrestling. I'm in a very big New Japan kick these past few months, and I've been yelling at Drex to watch some more New Japan with me. But so I got the WWE network, and then I got the New Japan network, and so I've been watching a lot of New Japan.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about this ACW show that's coming up.
Yes, I should do the promoting
in a few
like
weeks.
A wrestler does.
Yeah, because this time always disappears way too fast. But coming up on November 12th is a benefit show.
Yes,
that ACW is putting on. It's the John Hendel benefit, and it will be at Kankakee Valley High School.
Yep.
And this is a Sunday. This is like Sunday, November.
Sunday early afternoonish.
2
I believe.
o'clock.
Yes.
I think doors at 1, shows at 2.
Yes. Yes.
You and Cliff Caviar will be taking on the Top Guns.
A new team that's just exposed, and they're scared to show their faces, so they hide it behind these weird masks. I will take those masks from them. I will expose them to the world as the cowards that they are, and then I'll get the win because I'm great, and Cliff will still have money, and then I'll have more money because I have now beaten another team for Cliff and made him look good. So I'm sure Cliff will do a thing or two, and then I'll probably win the match because I'm great. And if I can get Drex to come out and pose with me after, we'll hold our belts to the world because we're tag team champions. I don't know if I told you that. And down there, they know we're cool, so they cheer for us. I don't know what I have to do for the fans up here to get them to do that, but if you can, please check out this on November 12th. Come out to the Wheatfield. Is it Kankakee Valley? I got to read this now.
Kankakee Valley High School.
Valley High School in Wheatfield, Indiana. Doors at 2, or excuse me, doors at 1. Bella's at 2. I'm sure. I know it says that Hadley's in the main event with Tristan Hayes. I'm sure that's a typo. I'm most certain I'm in the main event because I'm TK0. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'm most likely in the main event. But still come in early. It's still polite to watch the whole show, not just mine. I don't want the promoters to get mad when they're like, "Hey, no one's coming out until your show. Your match is last." That's when they all come in. They start putting me on early just so they can see everybody in the crowd. But so yeah, come support some little indie wrestling and help out for a good cause.
Well, and there's always a difference between what is the true main event and which is the match just happens to go on last. Those aren't necessarily the same thing.
It should be both mine. Both should be mine.
Now, when you mentioned the Hadley versus Hayes quote unquote main event,
Yes.
I'll talk about this show a couple of times between now and the 4th, and the two of them have been chattering at each other on Facebook. So on next week's show here on WVLP, I'll play those comments that they've each tossed towards
I don't know
each
if you're
other on
allowed to
Facebook.
actually use those comments on radio. I don't know what the
There
regulations are for
there
this station.
are no FCC red flags in terms of at least language that they come up in there.
I'll tell them they've been doing it wrong then.
Well, maybe they knew that they needed to have the word spread in every medium possible, and so they had to constrain themselves at least a little bit.
That would be smart. They are smart men in terms of promoting a match, so I can understand if they did it that way.
Good. So, do you have any words about other people that are on that show in terms of people coming out? And obviously none of them are as good as you, but if there's any one or two other
Drex
ones
is pretty
that you
good.
can
I'm not
recommend.
gonna make any hate on Drex. I believe he's there. I'm not certain what the full card is. I know there's a lot of people on there. I know, let's see, Dave Allen's going to be on there. Austin, I believe, is on there. Dynamo. I'm probably going to take that belt from him because I should have won it from him. Fury, Xavier. There's a lot of good wrestlers out there. And it's a mixed match because it's not just an ACW show. Since this is a benefit show, we're able to get a lot of wrestlers from around here that aren't normally on our shows to help out. Wrestlers, since they don't suck, will actually come together and for a good cause. So it's gonna be a good mix match. It's not just gonna be, hey, we know these backbreaker guys. Obviously, Top Guns premiered in Backbreaker, right? So hey, these are kind of backbreaker guys. Cliff and I were in this ACW area, right? So you got kind of two feds, if you will, with a match up there. So it's gonna be guys that, hey, I kind of usually see them over here. I see these guys over there. This guy's over here. Coming together for one day, hey, let's raise some money for a good cause, help these people out, do something good for the world, and put on some good matches, and hopefully everybody will see me win again As I mean, the last match I had around here was against Kyle Kaler, and as we all know, he cheated greatly to beat me. Because every time I've ever had him one-on-one, I got to break his back in front of everybody, so it doesn't make sense that he's able to pin me cleanly. I'm going to find him one day. Hopefully he's at the show. I might run in on him. But nonetheless, yeah, it's going to be a really good show. Like I said, doors at 1, bells at 2, Kankakee Valley High School in Wheatfield, Indiana, November 12th. Please come out.
It will be a good show. I will be talking about that event in the next couple of weeks as we get closer and closer, but I'm sad to say that it's now the top of the next hour, and so we'll have to wrap this up a little bit. On behalf of Cliff Caviar, I will thank you in advance for helping him win that match.
Hey, he pays for the wins.
On behalf of the children in the audience, I'm apologizing for whatever they may say to you during that time.
Very rude things.
I hope you enjoyed your time here at WVLP.
Loved it.
I hope you enjoyed the half hour of songs.
I plan on actually taking the
Zero
segment
in the
over.
title.
It's going to become TK0 Presents Wrestling Half Hour, and it's just me talking. It's
That's
because it's
awesome.
ratings.
There you go. Ratings. It'll go from maybe 0 to 1.
I don't know. With a 0 is very highly rated to me, so I don't know why we have to make fun of the 0. It's a good number.
Oh,
So,
no, yeah, I was not making fun of it. I was just...
It'd be
based
0
on-
people would hate you now because TK0 is here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll take all the help I can get. Well, thank you for coming in. You have an open invitation to come back anytime.
You say that, and then you're going to have somebody on here, and then when I run in here and break a chair on the back, you're going to be very sad you gave me this open invitation.
Well, I will change the locks, but
Oh,
if you
fair enough.
can get in, then whatever happens, happens.
I'm happy we have this recorded.
All right. It's 10:02. This is WVLP 103.1 FM, and now it is time to listen to Punk Rock Radio.